Mom for a minute and then look back down at the picture. Okay, yeah, look up at Mom. Say, hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Say, okay, now look up at Mom and say, hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, camera.
Hi, camera.
What do you got in your mouth?
Swallow it.
Swallow it or spit it out or something. Now look at the camera and say, hi, Grandma.
Hi, Grandma.
Spit it out. Whatever you got in your mouth, spit it
Spit.
out. Okay, now swallow it. Whatever else you got in your mouth, it's quit.
Hi, Grandma.
That's better. Look at the camera and say, hi, Grandma.
Hi, Grandma.
Okay, now tell her that what you did Sunday.
I put the piano, Grandma.
And then what?
My daddy took me to the doctor, Grandma.
Why? Why did he take you to the doctor?
Because I fought up the piano.
And what did you land on?
I landed on roller.
And what did you hit?
I hit my collarbone. Grandma!
And what happened to it? Okay, when you went to the doctor, what did they do? What did the nurse do?
The nurse.
Look up at the camera and say, tell her.
Grandma,
The nurse.
the nurse has a picture of me.
And what did the picture look like? Could you see your face real good?
No,
You,
I can't see Grandma.
Mommy went in.
Grandma is gonna look at this.
She's gonna
on
watch
video.
you.
You can't see Grandma. That's right, because she's gonna look at this on the video. She's gonna put this in her tape machine and put it on her TV
Brandon,
and watch you.
Mom and you went into the other room with the nurse, and the nurse took off your shirt and made you stand against the wall. How? What did you have to put against the wall? Chest.
My chest.
Against
Grandma!
the wall. And then she took a picture of your back, didn't she?
She did. She did. Grandma!
You don't have to yell. Grandma can hear you. And just look up at the camera and tell her that she took an X-ray picture.
She took an X-ray picture. Mom! Grandma!
And then the doctor brought it in, and he slipped it in the thing on the wall, and then what did he do?
He turned on the light and I could see my bones.
Right.
Grandma!
You could see your bones, and what had happened to one of your bones?
My two bones got hurt.
Only one bone got broken.
No, two bones.
Which two bones?
This one and this one. This one.
You could see both of your bones in the picture, couldn't you?
Here and one here.
And then which one got broken?
This one and this one.
Brandon, they didn't
You're
both
making it
break.
into which one hurts? Does this one hurt?
Well, this one and this one.
Which one hurts right now?
This one and
Th-
this one.
This one does not hurt now. Just this one. You're making this into a bigger deal than it was.
And you've got a brace on for 6 weeks.
You want to tell Grandma a story? Look up at the camera and tell Grandma a story. Say, Grandma,
Grandma,
once upon a time.
the far away visit with a big moon.
And when they, a what?
A big moon.
A big moke?
Moon. And he talked and he said, he was a tiger moon. And don't be please crushing my egg. And he crushed his egg.
Why don't you tell her the story you were watching on TV? Who was that white thing that climbed up on the wall? Who was that?
You let him use his imagination until
What was it? What was it?
You remember Humpty Dumpty.
What was it?
Humpty Dumpty. Tell her what happened with Humpty Dumpty.
Humpty Dumpty coming up the wall and he break his head.
How did he break his head?
Because the wall, and he went boom, boom, boom. The ugly face was in
Who was? He had been mean to all the other eggs, hadn't he? He had been mean and ugly and ungodly. And he fell, and then what song did he sing after he fell? Pride comes before a fall. I was proud I had to fall. And then what happened? Did he ever get made better? Was he ever made better, or did he live cracked all the time?
He didn't crack, but there was eggs, but there was going to the temple, and there was, and
How did he get to the temple?
I don't and then the egg was on a stretcher, and those eggs were marching to the castle.
Mm-hmm. Who was in the castle? No, who? I'm trying to get your attention up here. Who was in the castle?
Humpty Dumpty was in the castle.
And who did he go to talk to? That's right. And what did the king tell him? He said, "You were a naughty egg, but I forgive you." And then he told him to count to what? He told him to count to.
2 and 5.
So let's count them.
1, 2, 3.
And then
4, 5, and 6. 2,
7.
7.
He counted to 7, and then after he counted to 7, what happened?
He opened his eyes. He was packed up.
That's right. He wasn't cracked anymore.
He was not packed anymore. Packed up.
And what did he say he was going to do? I'll be kind to everyone.
He will be nice. He'll be nice and he's not naughty again. He's nice. He's nice in the castle.
Yeah. Did he ever climb the wall again?
No, he didn't.
No, because who had told him never to climb the wall?
The devil.
The devil told him he should climb the wall because he said it would be really nice on the other side. But the king said,
The devil.
but who told him he should not climb up the wall?
The devil.
The devil wanted him
Still
to.
don't have the story straight.
He's watched it a dozen times. The devil, the big snake, told him he should climb up the wall. But who had said, don't climb up the wall, don't ever climb up the wall? Who told him not to?
The devil.
The king said, don't ever climb the wall.
No.
Stay inside, don't ever climb it. And the devil said, you should climb it. What was the snake gonna do to the egg?
Bite him.
Eat it.
Then he was trapped.
How did the devil get him to come up there? What did he tell him was on the other side? He said, it's a beautiful paradise on the other side. Was it a paradise? He said, there's magic water. If you drink this water, it will make you a king. And was it? No. instead of this gal. Do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Hi! Hi, little Karen kid. You're such a good baby. Hi. 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 I love you. I love you, yes I do.
Me too.
I love you, yes I do.
Me playing peekaboo. What? Take a picture of me about playing.
Hey, how come it's out of focus?
Because you got it out of focus. You've got to focus it whenever you get a different distance.
Karen. Karen. Hello, sweet baby kid.
Get a picture of me. Get a picture of me, Mom. Get a picture of me.
Okay.
Karen. Karen, look at Daddy. Karen. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. Karen. Don't play with the plastic bag. No, no. No, no.
And the duchesses and all the royalty and all the invited guests. We had scullions. You got her?
Yeah. It's running.
Karen! Hi, little baby. Karen had to have her own toothbrush. She was trying to get on. Karen, I'm going to make you laugh. Boo! Boo!
Here you go, Mom.
Boo! More hot water. Cool it off. Look out. Huh?
There you are.
Woo! I'm glad you were there to catch your sister. Of course, you're also why she fell. Brandon, are you pushing her over? Jimmy, I'm sorry.
I'll just pause it, but I can't.
Hold
The way
it.
the battery is.
We gotta get Karen in here. She's slipping. She wasn't before. She's been sitting up in there. Would you sit back, please?
Karen. You're young. I love you.
Peek your head
You're a
around
good
Karen and
girl.
say hi.
You're a good girl, Karen. Hi, Brandon.
Oh,
Oh, smack it a jaw.
Smackaroos. Brandon,
Oh,
why
she
is she
is-
falling?
Because she's falling right something.
Okay.
Why is she falling, Brandon?
Because she's falling by herself.
Oh, she is she?
You can lean against your brother. Two little babies squished in a bathtub.
I know.
We'll bid you good night.
Good night, Aunt Ruth.
See you in the morning,
No.
hopefully.
What did you say, Brandon?
She's a baby.
You're not though?
No.
Now how old are you?
2.
Going on?
3.
When will you be 3?
On my next birthday.
When's your next birthday?
I'll be 3.
April.
Show me your collarbone that you broke. Mom, lean Karen out of the way. This collarbone right here, does it hurt now?
No, I just
Oh, he's getting marks in here from the swing.
Does it hurt? Does your collarbone hurt now? It doesn't?
No, it doesn't.
Good.
Why doesn't it hurt, Brandon?
Because I fall on my toes and my collarbone. It hurt.
Oh, you fell on your toe and you hurt your toe? But I thought you said your toe was already better now.
Do you have me?
Yes.
Brandon, why does your collarbone not hurt right now?
It doesn't hurt.
Why?
Because this is healing.
Who's healing?
See, this is healing my collarbone, Dad.
That's right.
Karen, you're not very interested in what's going on up there. Now see, her hair has a little bit of curl when it's wet. But as soon as it's dry, it's as straight as a poker. I've already given her a haircut. She just had her first haircut about a week ago.
I'm listening. Karen. What is that one?
Ooh, she dropped. Hi, Karen. She dropped her toothbrush. No teeth yet. Woohoo! Brandon, are you pushing her over?
No, I'm not.
She never fell before. Now she's falling all over the place. She needs to have her feet on the. There you go.
She thinks that he's holding her up. That's why she's falling. Before she had the whole place to herself. She was balanced and knew that she was going to fall if she didn't.
Look at that white baby.
That's not my baby.
She's white.
What?
You're a good girl.
Why, Mom?
You're a good girl.
She's pink. She's not white, she's pink. What color are you? What color are you, baby?
That is cold.
You're white too. What are you doing to your tummy?
I don't.
No, don't do that. Here, let me show you what that feels like. Do you like it? This is Karen's toothbrush. Careful. Karen, are you gonna get those new boomerang wings? Brandon. Don't do that again, Brandon. You heard me. Don't!
Brandon, don't, Mom. Don't.
Keep your hands off of that, Bonnie Bouncer. You are too big for it.
Karen. Karen.
That's too bad.
Karen.
I've told you before, you don't get a
You're
snack
young.
before you go to bed.
Oh,
Yeah.
If you don't eat all your supper, which you
You're a
do.
good girl. No, you didn't. You're still in the picture. this a mile? Walk backwards. Stand, no, let go. I'm holding you now. Stand up on your own. That's pretty good. Brandon, look at me and smile. Look at me and wave. Pretty good. Roll yourself over. Can you roll yourself over? Sideways? Not very good, huh? Okay, I'll roll you over.
Who did music when you were at Lamar?
Well, my favorite was Arrested.
Oh, Lee Keating.
So was mine.
For different reasons.
For different reasons, Brad. Why was your... No, Mr. Keating was there when you were there?
Well,
I remember Mr. Keating.
He came after the other one was arrested.
Was arrested, okay.
And the other one was really a good music director.
Really?
Lee Keating,
He was a showman.
he was a
Oh,
showman.
Yeah.
But he wasn't as good a director.
No.
And, but he had played the piano with Skinny Ennis's band.
Oh, really?
And so when he came, I was very resentful because the other band director and choral director was so good. And so I gave Lee Keating a kiss because I used to exercise the choral group.
Right.
And I put them through all of their exercises, you know. And so Lee Keating wasn't experienced in choral. He knew music, but he wasn't experienced in choral. And so he would, I quit doing the exercises. And so he would give us music, and he'd hold his hands up. And I was on the front row because I was the soloist, you know. And I would give the downbeat and
Nobody'd sing. Beautiful. Just look at him, right?
and I'd say, you know, we'd talk about it ahead of time, and I'd say, don't laugh, you'll ruin it if you laugh. Just look at him. Just, you know, that's it.
Just look at him. Oh, mean.
Oh,
He was a character though.
He was sweet.
Yeah.
He
I
was
didn't know him well because of course when I got to Lamar there were two choral groups.
Yeah.
There was a serious choral group,
Yeah.
and that was Mrs. Lauder.
She wasn't there.
No, she had been at the elementary school for years. She was
Yeah.
a very good musician, and she's the one that did things like Gilbert and Sullivan and Benjamin Britten Ceremony of Carols. I mean, seriously. But Keating still had the Glee Club,
Yeah.
right, which was all the popular girls, not necessarily the serious singers, but the really popular.
What did he call them?
Oh, I can't remember. There was something special.
Yeah.
It was an all-girls thing. I mean, there were no boys in it. The mixed chorus Mrs. Lauder had. And the orchestra worked with her, and he just did his own thing. So I
Do
didn't
you
know him
remember
well.
that couple that lived just down the street from you all that were big in the Legion?
Mm-hmm.
He had white hair, and she had brown curly hair. Well, she had two daughters,
Right.
and they went to Lamar. And so they said to me one time, didn't you go to Lamar? And I said yes. And they said, did you know Mr. Keating? And I said, yes, I did. And they said, were you there the first year he came? And I said, yes. Yes, I was. And they said, he talks about you every year.
Yes.
And so I was supposed to sing, and they were supposed to have an accompanist for me. Well, the accompanist called the night before and said they could not come. They were sick. And so somebody there said, I know this marvelous pianist, and he can accompany. So when I got to it was at 52, which is
Yes.
close to the shop. When I got there, I walked in. I was supposed to come 45 minutes early and talk with the accompanist and tell him what I wanted. And when I got there, it was Lee
It was
Keating.
Keating.
He had a fit, and he asked me if I'd come to Lamar and talk to the
Yeah.
big club. Coraliers.
Yes, I think that's right. Coraliers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an unusual name anyway.
And but I never heard from him again. I think he was just being forward. He never asked me to come. But anyway, I found out that he always talked about this singer that he loved to hear sing, but she gave him a hard
Such a hard time.
But you know, he didn't resent it.
Yeah.
And after I graduated from high school, he went off and played with Skinny Eunice's band again, and I got postcards from him at some of the
Yeah.
places where they went.
He was a character. He was a real institution.
I never thought he'd be there that long, because I didn't think he was a very good.
Well, no, yeah.
You know, I can't think of the name of the guy that was there.
Had been there before.
Yeah, I can see him. He was a short guy, but boy, was he good. He was so good. Anyway, it was.
This is this old Model T with the V8
Oh,
sign
right.
painted on it.
Yes. Really fooling, right?
This is the class beauty of it. That's,
So who were you going to?
well, it says right here.
Oh, the love bug. Alta Frost deserves a mighty bouquet for her fine capture of the heart of Kirby Miller. Whoa.
Come graduation day, she
Yes.
went her way and I went my way, and they weren't the same way.
Alta Frost. Alta.
Kirby the Killer.
Alta Frost. Didn't we see a picture of her back there?
Yeah, she's a pretty good.
Did she marry a football coach?
I don't know. Really, I don't remember. I think she got married.
We went to some reunion of yours, and she was there.
But I think she was divorced by then.
Or the most beautiful girl at Sam Houston was there.
Yeah, Evelyn Leskey.
Yeah, she had married a football coach.
Yeah, she married, yeah, coach, one of the coaches. That's right. Billy Hurd, he was a football player.
Did he become a clerk of court later?
I think so.
Billy Hurd?
Gennaro Salazar, he was a good little soldier about him. He was to Lieutenant Miller, a swell guy,
Jack Valenti.
Senator Valenti.
That's right.
Did he sign Senator Berlin?
Over here he did though. He said a future senator.
Oh, yeah,
In this
yeah.
one, yeah. Where is it there?
Future senator.
Right, future
How
senator.
about
Politically,
that?
we all knew he was gonna be a politician.
He knew where he was headed, and so
Oh, yeah.
I guess no one argued with him.
Oh,
Up
he
the
was-
line.
Oh, he was bright. He was a year younger than all the rest of us, but he was
Really?
a star. He was, you know, he was a very, very smart, personable guy.
Yeah, he's what, MPA, Motion Picture Association of America, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's what he's headed now, yeah.
Said all the ladies would have.
Yeah, exactly.
Very successful.
Oh, yeah, I don't wanna lose that now.
No, I think you should, take it home for
Oh, yeah.
bonus and
Yeah, they did, I mean,
all that
Bill
to look at, really. Yeah, I thought he was nice.
$37. 52 years. Hello.
Mm. about things that happened the other day, and it wasn't the other day.
Well, you know, we were on the Baylor campus for just a short while this morning, and I couldn't find my way around because they turned it into a big university. And we got to talking about it. Well, Lois went to Baylor in '67, so she was there '67, '68 was her first year, '68, '69, '69, '70. But then in the fall of '70, she went and she finished her 4 years in December. And that was the last time I was there to pick her up.
Oh, right.
You know, so it had been years since I had been there. And everything has changed. The freeway runs by the university, but gorgeous building. The
Yeah.
Golden Dome that they play football in.
Oh, but you're talking about McDonald's. Well,
Golden
they're on. Oh yeah, Arches, not Dome. Well, I
Yeah,
thought-
right.
Right, I'm with you again.
But,
They're on McDonald's on campus. That's wonderful.
gee, you know, I just can't imagine Lois being out of college all those years.
Yeah, right. I know the feeling. Yeah.
Good, I'm happy for all of them. It was a nice surprise, wasn't it?
Oh, boy, yeah.
Brush your teeth.
Daddy,
Yeah.
I did already.
Okay, we'll go get ready.
Oh, were there many more letters that I overlooked? A few in that period. A few. I had planned for this last year to go ahead and revise the whole thing. Rewrite
Okay.
it.
Well, of course, we also have all of Beverly's letters.
Yeah.
One thing that occurred to me that might be interesting to see where both
Yeah.
boys were at the same
Yeah.
time.
Well, see, I'll put them in chronological order. You look.
I threw away all of the letters I had.
Did you?
Yeah, I kept them for a long time. And then when we moved from West University Place out to Spring Branch, I never had them, neither did I just.
Well, Beverly, yeah, Mama get,
That's how it
and of
is.
course your letters to Beverly, I even have a letter from either Mom or Dad to Beverly, from Dad, reminding him to send your letters. So that
Oh,
they would
yeah.
have them, yeah, yeah. So that's why those letters got there, is that Beverly was specifically instructed.
Well, you know, looking through these letters and everything, that letter from my commanding officer
Yep.
to Dad about getting out of jail and getting promoted and all that, I had never read that before.
Right.
Somehow in the rush after we got home and everything, he never told me that.
Right, okay.
I'd never seen that letter before. That was amazing.
The letter, the letter I mentioned to you about getting you home. Right? The congressman, about getting you out of there.
Oh, I never
Okay.
saw that either.
I found it.
You wrote the letter?
I found it.
No, he
Oh,
found the
I
letter.
found the letter.
I see.
Who wrote it, Freddie?
No, I did.
Mama,
Yeah.
She's trying to get him out of the service?
Well, because
No,
Beverly.
to get him, it was after Beverly. No, and the letter is basically saying, hey, look,
If we gave
you know,
one son.
and don't you think the law of averages is against us here? Kirby's been in this many landings and this many engagements. She wrote to Albert Thomas.
Oh, Congressman.
Yeah. And I have his letter in reply.
What did he say?
He said, I agree with you. And he should apply for getting out. Go through the channels. I agree wholeheartedly, he should go through channels.
Well, see, he could have gotten out sooner, but he refused the Purple Heart. He was wounded.
I had 5 minutes. Well, I didn't exactly refuse it, but they told me I was entitled to the Purple Heart, but it was the kind of wound where you didn't bleed,
Right.
and it was a concussion type.
Oh, yeah, right.
And,
Well, you got metal in your chest.
well, that was from a training accident. That
I
was
know.
That's not the armed enemy's fault, you know. But the concussion deal where I went to
That's
the
the
hospital.
corporal's fault.
That's what I went to
Yeah.
the hospital for.
He was training men to
Yeah, I was trying
fight
to
the enemy to me, and the
They
war
got too
was
close
on.
to a great big Japanese cast iron wash pot. And you know that kind of missile hits, and some of the particles, it's like an armor piercing thing,
Right.
it blows back. But I was too close to my target, and they blew back, and one of the pieces, I still got the ring.
And he still got it in his chest.
But I didn't expect a purple heart for that, but I expected one for the concussion thing. It paralyzed my side.
Yeah.
I was in
And you were-
therapy for months.
That's right, yeah.
But they wouldn't give me a purple heart for that.
Huh.
And that was 5 points. If I had insisted, I could have gotten a purple heart.
Right.
But I was fed up with the whole thing. That would have been a little bit sooner than normal. But the thing that really fouled me up was going to OCS.
OCS, no, right.
It kind of started all over again with points. Anyway.
He was plenty fed up with the whole
It's true.
I ran, one of his war buddies came to see us and he said that when he was sent to Japan, Kirby was there. And he said Kirby was wearing a beard and he looked like Jesus Christ.
Really?
So he looked just like Jesus. And but he wouldn't talk to him. He was mad. Wanted to come home.
Yeah, but,
And he was occupying Japan. That's a long,
You've never
long
been
time.
I haven't
Especially
been
when
home
you're
since I was
making landing.
So what did I go do? Go home, get in the reserve, the National Guard?
Exactly.
34 years.
Kept at it.
I wasn't that fed up. Yeah.
Well, when you went through the letters initially, you know, at the end of your memoir, you say there were no further letters. There were.
There were.
No letter after you visited Hiroshima, which in
I knew I'd written that letter, but I couldn't find it in that song.
the things that you were talking about in the narrative, in some cases, are even more dramatic in the letter.
Oh, really?
'Cause there is
Yeah, and I actually had a picture, I had a snapshot
Yep.
of me in a Zero airplane on Hiroshima airfield.
Oh.
I don't know what happened to that.
Well,
I
there-
thought I sent it back.
Well, there is a snapshot of Hiroshima
Yeah,
that you took,
yeah.
that we have. Yeah.
The one that I liked was that I was sitting in a Zero, and one of my buddies took a picture of me in a
Yeah.
Zero fighter aircraft on Hiroshima airfield.
Yeah. That one I'm not sure about. I don't think I've seen it. But Hiroshima itself, yes.
Was it a good picture?
It's a good picture, yeah. It's reproducing.
I remember I was up in a tall building where they had the stairway running up the side. The inside of it was gone.
Yeah.
From the bomb. But you could climb the stairway up one of the, it was 5 or 6 stories high, and I took a picture of it for several.
Must have been proud. So did you actually investigate that Crossways
Did you figure that one out?
Yeah. Well, I found the second reference to it in the second letter to Beverly.
We had. There was a joke about truth. I don't know whether you want to
Oh, that's enough of that. We'll
Is
cut
it
that in a moment.
vulgar? I don't want to.
It's a soldier's joke.
Did you, when you went through your letters, the ones that you typed up, did you censor those as you went through?
To some extent, very, very small. I felt like I had to keep some of the language.
Right.
You wrote to your mother, Lord Lightning?
No, I wrote to my brother.
No, to Beverly, because a lot of those are to Beverly.
No,
Yeah. No.
but you know, if I'm going to let my children.
Right. Fair enough. Yeah.
And I thought that other thing you were just talking about was obscure enough that nobody.
Exactly, yeah.
Like her, she didn't know.
we've got a letter, and I found some letters written out by Dad, which are interesting as well. At the same time, he wrote some wonderful letters. I mean, like
I must have
6
given
and 7
them all when I
pages.
got back,
Well, in many cases, he sent it like to you and to Beverly, the same letter. He would be sitting on, I don't know what, air raid duty or whatever, some kind of civil defense duty, and he had nothing to do at that time, and he would sit at the typewriter, and he'd write, and he would send it out to.
Well, you know,
one
he
letter
never
went to
has written
you.
anybody before or since those years, I don't think.
He certainly,
needed to write.
he never wrote me one time when I was in college, one letter.
I really
That I
appreciated
could-
the letter when I got a letter.
Yeah.
I knew that he just didn't do that to anybody, even his own children. Oh, dear.
I've got a marvelous letter out to Beverly from
That
Dad,
running?
who is taking Beverly to task, saying, now listen, why, I'm sure it was just a case of you know, just not thinking before you wrote, but why would you write your mother if you went out and got drunk? Your mother, and he goes, you know, your mother is such a sweet, and she thinks the best of you. I'm your dad, I accept you, it's no problem, whatever you are, but look, don't do these things to your mother. Why can't you write your mother that we went to church one Sunday? You know? And he finishes all up by saying, now don't tell her that I said it.
But the thing about Beverly is he never got drunk. He wasn't a drinker. He was just a real nice guy.
I don't really, I think
It's probably true.
No, he never drank.
So he might have only been
Well, he
teasing in the
One
letter.
time he might have gone with the guys and had one drink. He was not a drinker. He
Right.
was a very gentle man.
Yeah.
Gentle and kind and carried a heavy burden for the welfare of the family.
Oh, that comes through.
Carried a heavy
In
burden.
2 or 3
he
of the
wanted
letters.
everybody to do the right thing.
Yeah. It's very
Everybody to do the right
Yeah.
thing. And he's just a gentle person. No, he wasn't a drinker. So that was
I
a
was
very exceptional day. This one, yeah, he would have gone.
That's why I wouldn't have written it to his mom about it, but he would.
Yeah, right.
This one was a rascal.
The first time I went into Melbourne on pass,
Yes.
you could walk into any bar and then you couldn't buy your own drinks. You know, everybody was on the house. And so, and I ran into some Australian chocolate bars. And so I got crocked to the gills and just ate
And full of chocolate
chocolate
as well.
bars. Went to a real fine restaurant, sat down to eat, ate a few bites, went into the latrine,
Yeah.
heaved chocolate.
Oh dear. And they call it R&R.
Yeah, oh, brother.
Oh dear.
Turned green and they took me home.
Just from chocolate.
Yeah. But those days, Melbourne ran the very first days after we got there. Soldiers gambling in the streets, shooting. You know, and the police standing there, what? You're Americans, you can do anything.
Well, the Australians were so glad to have the Americans. You cannot imagine. War now would be no shock to the nervous system.
Right.
But you cannot imagine what a society we lived in. How peaceful, how quiet.
Yeah.
There was no thought of any danger to a woman walking down the street. I used to work late and go to a movie downtown or ride a bus all the way from downtown to West University Place, get off and walk 3 or 4 blocks in the dark.
Right.
And if you don't like the dark, you don't like the dark. I mean, I made
Right.
some precautions, but it was worth the risk to do what I wanted to do.
sure.
And then the war comes and everything's in a total upheaval. And it is all so horrendous that, and here they are going overseas when they haven't been anywhere much.
Right.
Their lives are turned upside down. The ones who are left behind are turned upside down because you're helpless.
Yep.
And so, kids that had never been away from home before did things that they never could have done at home.
Of course, yeah. Who would have thought of it?
And you know, it wasn't always nice behavior.
No.
Because they were, even though they were gone to fight a war, they were without
I know where she goes to
judgment,
church.
mature judgment.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And here's an opportunity, all holds are loosened, and we
On
can just
Interstate 20.
try all these things that maybe we've read about, or we've talked about, or whispered about, you know. Everything was upside down. Everything. It was just a awesome shock to your nervous system.
Get a bath?
Is it the?
Which couch are you gonna sleep?
Oh no! Did you finally get a bed made up?
Halfway.
Halfway made up. 15-15, you're served.
Well, I mean,
Love.
halfway.
15 love.
A sheet and an electric blanket, and that's all made up, huh?
There's 2 sheets,
30,
3 pillows
15.
with pillowcases on them, an electric blanket, and it's already turned on for you.
30-30. Gain point.
What about the comfort that goes on top?
I think he means you, Jane.
Is that too heavy for you?
You're the comfort that goes on top. I think that's who he's talking about.
You got this machine running?
Yes, sir.
He's been listening to us reminisce.
Yeah.
Don't have a very wide angle lens, does it?
Does
Not open all
back,
the way
no.
up, but it's not too bad. Not who super is it? We saw that expression.
That was good.
Yeah, we got that on
And you can
Facebook.
see that for
That's good.
years to come. The expression.
I remember the first time I ever saw a video camera, Dick had it. And he trained it on me, and I just had
Oh,
a
yeah. She thought it
screaming
was simple.
hissy.
We still have that thing.
What is it, like a graven image or what?
That was
I
out
just
there
thought
at Lubbock
this couldn't
Church.
possibly last, so why are we fooling with it?
Yeah. Right.
Shows you what I know.
We were in Lubbock, and she came down the road
See how.
saying,
Oh,
"Get
yeah.
that,
Alpha
get that off
Claus.
of me, quick."
Cute.
Oh, I just couldn't stand to have my picture made.
These guys are still gifted, I know a lot. Really. Nothing Phillips, he's a big businessman. Live in the prairie. Howard McCollum. Huh?
I said Beverly must be.
No, not like you.
Oh,
No,
okay.
Beverly,
Because there were letters from Pearls all over the country. I mean,
When he was a cadet and all?
yeah, and pilot training. Everywhere he went, there's another girl writing to him after that.
really.
Yeah.
Set the
Well,
world on fire.
After he got out of high school, he dated.
Yeah.
After he went to A&M, he dated more.
Yeah, I could say.
But
Oh.
he didn't date as much as a lot of cadets there dated.
He was still in the at A&M when I got drafted.
Yeah.
Right, I never saw him.
See, Beverly and I were good friends. He and I were not friends at all.
No.
No.
Oh, no, we didn't consider it.
How come?
Hmm?
How come?
Well, I was 5 years older than this
Yeah.
17-year-old, 16-year-old kid, you know. I was too young for me.
Now you want to hear my side?
And she thought,
He was
S.A.
wild.
Yeah.
He was wild. And he went with some very
Loose. Whoa. Wow, wow, wow.
loose women.
Loose women.
Yeah. And he said it.
Jimmy knows.
Jimmy knows? When did this happen? We won't tell Jim.
No.
What's the matter?
It's home.
Oh, we got it all. Got it all.
Stop it.
Stop it.
No, stop it, Jimmy, and back up.
when we went to Europe, and we went to New York
Turn
first,
it off.
then one day Mother went off
You
to
wanna
Macy's
talk.
and Bloomingdale's,
Oh,
and we
you
went to
and
West
Dad
Point.
went to
We
West
went up the river to West Point.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
I loved it.
That's
Because I always watched that television show and read the book, and
Yeah.
I was really keen to
See
go.
Ronald Reagan when he appeared in the story of
Well,
West Point?
Probably, although I didn't pay much attention in those days. Well, you were in fact young. I can tell from the letter.
Did
We
the
have-
letter in there for me?
Yeah, to Beverly.
To Beverly?
And
You're gonna be published.
What did I write?
oh, a variety of things actually.
Did I write?
Could you just move the camera over so that we get this?
Sure, we got-
we want the non-verbals as well as the verbals on this one.
I know, I think I got her in the picture.
Do you mean
especially
what
since
did you
it's
write
over-
in the body of the letter, or all embroidered up and down the sides?
Did I?
Yeah,
Draw
all
pictures?
Oh, you draw a number of little pictures. Yes.
I must have written it in one of my classes at high school.
I think
you know,
so.
bored crazy.
It sounded very high school, yeah.
Yeah.
Some little
Yeah.
drawings and
Yeah.
and doodles and this sort of thing.
Well, I guess when I met
You must have kind of liked him.
Oh, they had a
No,
real good.
we were good
They
friends.
liked each other, but they were just.
Beverly wanted me to be his girl, but I didn't feel that way about him. But he believed if he was persistent, I would change. Little did he know. I just wouldn't, when you don't feel that way, you don't
Yeah,
feel
sure.
that way. But he was a good companion.
Yeah.
And he phoned all the time. I mean, and we chatted about everything. And a lot of our social life was in the church. We had a very active.
Yeah, we'd have visitations,
Right.
visitation every week. We'd
Yeah.
go around and visit somebody different.
Every
Church.
Thursday
Yeah.
night we had visitation.
Cocoa.
And then we went to
But
Sunday
no, wait a minute, I don't really understand that. You mean like, it's like
The
one,
Baptist
one of the
church.
kids will say, my house
No.
this week, or
No,
no?
no,
How does
no.
it work?
Our superintendent of the young people's department, and Thursday night is visitation night in the Baptist, in the old Baptist church
Right.
anyway.
Yeah.
And so all of the young people met at the church, and our overseers or superintendent and teachers were there, and we would break up in groups, and we would go visit people who hadn't been to church in a couple of Sundays.
Oh, I see.
And just
okay,
let them
right.
know, well, we missed you.
Yeah,
And
come on back.
Right. So
And-
but if you don't go every Sunday, they come to you on Thursdays.
yeah, right,
So-
they really did.
Look for a
So you
visitation.
have a choice.
And then
Keeps
we
the
would,
membership.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
we all met at the church, and it was decided who would go with who. And then we would sometimes come back to the church, or else we would go to somebody's house, and they'd give us refreshments.
They liked it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it
sure.
was a nice thing to do.
Unless, of course, oh no, we got old man Ricketts again this week. We've done him 3 times in a row.
Well, we visited just the young people.
Aha,
We
We
okay.
didn't visit.
Oh, right. Okay.
Everybody visited their own age group.
Oh, okay.
But the adults didn't come to the church, just the young people came to the church. And the adults, that was.
Stayed at home and made the refreshments.
Yeah,
No, the deacons usually visited, or the women's
Yeah, the old.
missionary society decided every week who they were gonna visit. But we were the only ones that met at the church. And
Yeah.
we had our, what we call in the body covering, we had our teachers and our superintendent there. So we would go visiting, and then we'd have refreshments someplace. And then, when it was time to break up, well, like with Beverly and I, he would say, I'll take you home. And I'd say, sure. Maybe what he would say, I'll take you home. And I'd say, sure. It was a chivalrous time.
Yeah.
Woman's lip has changed all of that. What woman doesn't know is she's young at all? Again, so little. But anyway, so Beverly, we'd get to the church and he'd come out to the car when I'd drive up. My parents dropped me off. So I wasn't
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of girls liked him, you know. And, you know, we were just a very strong social group in the church. And we had Sunday school and church together on Sunday mornings, and we had Baptist Young People's Training Union and on Sunday night, and then church on Sunday night. And you had officers of the Baptist Training Union, and usually, if Kirby was president, I was vice president. If I was president, he was vice president. And he was a heckler. He heckled.
I heckle the president.
He
Oh,
heckled.
that means he heckled you.
She didn't like me.
And for Baptist Training Union,
you remember heckling her now, don't you?
yeah, you know. For Baptist Training Union, you had a Baptist Training Union quarterly, and you would give a part. There were sections to a study in there, and every person there would take a part, and it would be assigned the week before, and you would get up and give your part. And when I would give my part, he would do rude things.
Like, for instance.
Well, he would sit in the back, and he'd prop his feet up on chairs, which is, you know, that's a bit.
Just to sit up here.
In church.
Oh, I see.
This is different. You're not church.
And then what happened?
One time I mispronounced a word, and he gave that kind of laugh that he just did.
Yeah.
You know.
Endearing stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Just the kind of guy you want to have on the board with you, you know?
Yeah, right.
Always out there supporting.
Right. But then he had a convertible and
Automobile.
a roadster they called them in those days. It had a rumble seat, and he would have a date, and Beverly, of course, didn't have a car, so Beverly and his date had to sit in the back seat, and Beverly's date was me. And you'd ride in the back seat, and the wind would just rip your hair to shreds. You'd just get out and look like you'd walked into a windmill, you know. So I hated that rumble seat, and I didn't much like that car anyway. Nor did I like Kirby. So, if my dad would let me.
He did with that.
The first time, Beverly asked me if I could go get a Coca-Cola. He came up and introduced himself
Right.
at church. And then he said, could you go for a Coca-Cola? So, Coke in a glass, you know, at the at the corner
Right.
drugstore.
Sure.
There's a corner drug everywhere. And so,
We're talking West University Baptist Church, right?
Yeah.
I know where that kind of drug is.
Menlaws it used to be.
Yeah.
And so I asked my dad, can I go with those boys and get a Coca-Cola? And he said, yes, I could be gone 30 minutes. And they were going to bring me home.
Is that the one where you have to walk past the school?
Yeah.
The block of the school, and then on that next corner,
Yeah.
right there on the corner.
Yeah.
Even when I was a kid and went to West University Elementary, well,
Yeah.
Pershing was gone by then.
Oh, yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
all the elementary school, because Pershing
Yeah.
had been moved. But
Right.
that's where we used to go.
Yeah.
After school, we'd stop off there.
Yeah.
Right. Coke.
Yeah.
Get a Coke, or Cherry Coke, I think it was in those days.
You know, at that drugstore, I always remember we had the dearest little Chihuahua named Molly after we were married.
Yes.
She was just about that long. And Kirby had an operation.
This was before June.
Kirby had an acid.
The reason I knew is that she described him as a deer.
type.
Right, as opposed to Junior.
Oh, Junior was a darling.
Yes, if he liked you.
Anyway, Kirby had an appendectomy, and he was bored laying in bed, and he said, I'm going down to the drugstore to get or Saturday evening Coke. And so he took Molly, and he parked right in front of that big window of the drugstore. So
Right.
you'll know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. He went in, and the magazines were right at the front door, in front of the window. The cash register was right there. He went in, he got his Saturday Evening Post, he paid his 15 cents. He came out, and our dog was gone. Somebody lifted her out.
Really?
At that little bitty drugstore. Since you know the drugstore, I tell you
Yeah,
the story.
exactly.
Unreal.
It is unreal, and in that amount of time.
And we
And nice neighborhood and everything.
we had all the police in West University Place looking for her, and never found her again. And Jerry Bowman was crazy about that dog.
He used to
We
stick
u-
his-
we would go to Sugarland to play cards with Lillian and Lou and
Yes,
Jerry and,
yes.
and Margaret and
Right.
all of our kids. And Jerry wore a leather jacket. And coming back, we'd come back around 5 to 5:30 in the morning, and we'd stop to get breakfast. And we'd be going in the restaurant, and Jerry would zip up his leather coat and stick that dog down in that leather coat, sit there and eat breakfast, and the bacon would go down. No dogs allowed in the restaurant.
Jerry could do it.
And Lillian didn't care if we brought the dog. I just said, we can't come if we can't bring Molly. Well, Molly can come. Anything to play cards.
Yes. All right, but to go back,
Yeah.
you're on your way to the drugstore with Beverly.
Yes. And my dad said, well, you can only, 30 minutes.
Right.
And I said, yes, sir. So we went right to the drugstore. We went in, we got our coats, and that's where things went sour.
With
30 minutes? I mean,
You're in jail.
30 minutes? What have you done? And he started in on me, and he never quit.
teasing you about this. Right.
And he just was after me all the time.
Probably one of the reasons her dad never did like me, even after I got married.
Is that right?
But my mother liked me.
Yeah, everybody.
My mother really liked me.
Yeah.
But during those times, I was taking myself very seriously. And he'd call me things like the opera singer. Here comes the opera singer. And one time he criticized the shoes I had on, which that's the end of
Right.
everything. Made fun of my shoes. And then he called me Miss Snob. Didn't you? These things true? T-zipper, he called
The
me.
T-zipper. Oh, yes. Yeah, right. The T-zipper, yes.
Yeah, but you call me
Even in
Miss-
my era.
You call me Snob. And
Right.
Beverly said that he didn't approve of that.
Right.
And he didn't.
Well, an opera too. Sorry. And you believe it.
Well, let me tell you what happened one time.
The word gullible hits new heights.
One time,
You
something.
didn't understand. This is a whole Mutt and Jeff routine they did here.
Listen, I want to tell.
I'll make
I've
you
got
look good.
proof. I've got,
Watch this.
I've got proof of it. One time.
All right.
Don't you go far with that.
No.
But later, do that.
What about I done?
Eyebrow.
What
I
about it?
mean, eyelashes.
What about it?
Well, we thought that you were not a real blonde, that you had dark eyelashes. Between us.
You
Oh, and my hair was bleached because my eyelashes
Are
were
dark.
black. Yeah.
All right.
They were always trying to figure things out, and that was a mistake that those did.
We were always wrong.
But let me tell you.
So how did you figure out that it really was blonde?
Well, somewhere or another, how did that go?
My eyelashes grew out. And, I
Oh, yeah,
never
her eyelashes
saw
grew out.
two
She was
people
blind.
pay so much attention. And so, one time we were all standing around. And Kirby said, oh, I know what it is.
What? What?
And Beverly standing there. Beverly had to
C's real easy with Beverly.
And he said, she dyes them.
He dyes the eyelashes?
Here I'm trying to carry on a serious conversation, and they've got this sign language going. So one time something horrible happened to me. Absolutely. Had a peeping Tom.
Really?
And I didn't know there was a peeping Tom out there. And my neighbor saw him, called the police, and the police surrounded the house. And, you know, Wilson University place was like a small village.
Yeah,
Sure.
sure.
Daddy was a sergeant in the police.
But he was in South America.
Oh, at the time, yeah.
And they crept up on this peeping Tom and climbed. Now, the police smothered the thing for the families involved because I said, I will die. I will die. And it was the boy I had had a date with that night. You know, he taken me to the movie.
and you thought the movie was over and he didn't.
His father was the editor of one of the papers.
He was doing a photo play routine? What? What is that? He sent him out on assignment, you know? Hey, listen, we need something for page 3. I mean, what?
So anyway, I
Now
told,
he's publishing the Inquirer.
Yeah, exactly. No, the Sun.
I
For the
told
page 3
Beverly,
girls.
and I said, now Beverly, I'm going to trust you with this because you and I are good friends. And Beverly had confided some things in me that will die with me. My lips are sealed. So I told Beverly about what had happened to me. And I said, I'm so nervous. You know, he said, you're so jumpy. So I told him what happened. And I said, now you can't ever tell anybody that. And he said, I never will. Well, then, sometime later, Kirby was over at the house. And I told Kirby. And I said, now you can never tell
Anyone.
I said, don't ever breathe this to a soul. And about a year later, car drove up in the driveway. And I went to the door, and there stood Kirby and Beverly. And I said, you know, it's unusual for them to show up at the same time. They usually came one at a time the same night. But they just eased in. Well, they visit Selma.
Selma lived 2 doors.
3 doors
Right,
down.
okay.
They visit Selma. Well, here would come Beverly. And after a while, here would come Kirby.
And Beverly go back to Selma.
No,
No,
that,
they just stayed.
and then here would
Yeah.
come Jay Cowan, who was
A&M.
rooming with Selma at the time, and he was Beverly's roommate. Well, here these two stood, and I said, well, hi. You. And I said, me what? And they said, don't tell us so. I'm just gonna tell you. And I realized what they'd done, and I said, you!
For a whole year to get through.
You
We did all this secret
You
for a whole
told.
year.
They couldn't keep it from a year.
Only 1 year.
That's a world record.
No kidding. A story like that. Oh.
But that, you know, I just could. At the time, what was I, senior in high school?
Yeah, I guess so.
That was a summer. That was a summer.
No, senior. You weren't a senior in high school until I was long overseas.
No. Don't you remember when I was going to business school downtown? You came down Capitol Avenue one day and you saw me waiting for a bus. And you hollered that disgusting term. Hey, Blondie, you want to ride home? Only crude people use that.
Well, now, wait a minute.
Which
I
one,
was drafted
Ride?
in 41, and I was 21, so you were 16.
Oh, well, I graduated in 42. May of 42.
Yeah, well, I was
I was
drafted in
17 when I graduated.
41. So So you were still in school when I left.
I guess you're right. But Beverly was up at A&M,
Right.
Yeah.
and
Oh,
I was
heard
going
about
to
it, you know.
football
Sure,
games with
heard about
Beverly.
football.
But anyway, they told,
Right.
and they both showed up on my doorstep. So I must have been
That's
about 16.
yeah,
And
this
I
was
probably
probably
told them when I was 15.
Probably the summer before.
Yeah. I was about 15 years old. There they show up on my doorstep. But I could not
Oh,
believe
yeah.
that they told. I could not believe that they told. They promised they'd never tell. Why did you all tell?
I kind of slipped out or something.
Well, it's hard to keep a secret that everybody else already knows.
Yes, it is.
No, nobody knew but them.
I know, but I'm saying,
Oh,
I'm saying.
That's
just
your
in a
story
general-
now.
No, that's
Hey,
really,
Jay!
that's really the way it
Well,
was.
Beverly would talk about his progress, you know, and he was getting nowhere with her.
See, they had a room together, so after they went to bed at night, they talked.
Right. Yeah.
And they really said it slipped out. They did. They said it was an accident, but then you know, when one let it slip, the other one said, "How did you know that?" and that's when they really got riled
And
up.
so, did you ever find out which one let it slip?
No.
It was Beverly.
But it was funny. It really was funny.
And that business about the eyelashes too, that was really.
She died of the eyelashes. That explains it. She died.
You can see we didn't have much to occupy us. Something like that would be that important.
Oh, it's silly.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, just the ages.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah.
The kind of things people think about to do when they're at that age.
Well, Beverly was, when I was 14, he was how old? He was 16, 17?
Well, you're 20 months younger than I am. 2 years. You were 16, he was 19.
Oh, he was 3 years old. So when I was 14, he was 17. Look at my hair. I was supposed to wash my hair and roll it up to my, I've got this big hole